baking bread at home? Do you save money? I don't know. Or is it just a cool thing to do? I was just sitting here thinking, I've got all three of these getting ready to go in, and I looked over and I see a $25 bread slicer with your fancy bow saw bread knife, or my bread board with proofing baskets, whisks, every kind of flour you can imagine. You got to store it somewhere. How about bread bags? I think personally I just like homemade bread, and it's convenient because I really don't like to go anywhere. Culturing your own sourdough, doing science projects and stuff, that's pretty fun too. You don't even need yeast. It's outrageous anyways. But how much time are you willing to invest in the sourdough, right? It's fun to decorate. It's got a great crumb. I really enjoy making. But when I get started, I never eat it all. We're looking at loaves this big. I know I can make them any size I want, but if you're going to spend 2 days making something, you try to make as much as you can, so you end up freezing it, and then what's it keep? Maybe 6 months. You end up throwing it away after that. But I guess it's all in what you like. Me, I like the taste of yeast, fresh yeast rolls, fresh bread. My bread don't keep as long as store-bought bread. I may keep mine 5 or 6 days in a store-bought loaf. God knows what they put in that. That stuff lasts like 2 weeks. But yeah, there's 100 different avenues to take making bread. Making your culture, getting it strong, feeding it, getting it activated, and then using it, or making a pizza dough, making poolish overnight. That way you can ferment your dough. That way you get that good tough crust on the bottom. A lot of people like yeast rolls on the holidays. They don't even know how to make them. They throw 2 frozen balls in a muffin tin. I think a lot of us probably make them though. Just looking around here, 20, 40, 60, 80, I think my board I keep it on costing $40 or $50. I mean, how long does it take to eat that much bread? That was a question I got asked a while back. Is it cheaper? I think it probably is ultimately, but if you look at time invested and learning and purchasing everything you need to get started, I mean, just a sack of plain old bread flour is $8 or $9. What's a cheap loaf of bread cost? So, I think it's just up to you and what you want to do. It can be cheaper. You don't need all this stuff I have, but it does make the job easier and faster. Maybe ultimately it might be cheaper, but I don't know how many years and how much bread it would take you to get caught up on it. But that's just my thoughts. I'm sure some of the people on here that grew up like I did can smell this picture. But loaves of bread take a lot of time. Making bread's kind of hard, You may have to rotate your pans. You may have to tweak your recipe. You may need a different hydration rate, a different amount of yeast, depending on your elevation. It's a tough thing. Like the sourdoughs, you can't just bake those in the oven. We bake them in our old school Dutch ovens or our pretty new ceramic coated ones. This one here has baked more loaves of bread than probably a damn bakery anywhere. And the loaves of bread we make are just as big as these. We got to put water in those underneath our parchment paper when we go to bake. Or else put a pan of water in your oven. I don't know what to say about the bread. You just gotta like it. And if you like it, it's worth it. These are tender still yet. Don't ever slice them when they come out of the oven. They're not done cooking. Give them some time. I'll slice these in the morning. They're so tender, light, and airy. But we'll let the steam finish cooking those on the inside. And I'll use my crazy little apparatus here, and I'll slice one loaf at a time as we need it. If you don't have bread bags, pillowcases work good short term. These may be a little big for a store-bought bread bag, I don't know. These are the sizes I make, which seem to be a little bigger than a store slice. But homemade bread. I'm up feeling kind of snacky. Let's see how they cut. Let's see. Move our little divider up. To get my samurai bread knife out. There's our bread. You can see how soft it is just when I barely touch it. And I will go all the way down the loaf, gently. Slicing, and every couple slices I will have to move up. Let's just see how we do with this guy. That is making a bunch of big crumbs. And our sandwich bread is seriously light and airy. All right, I just thought I'd show you guys me cutting it. Might as well eat the heel, my favorite part, since I'm up snacking. Bed head. Yeah, that's good and buttery. Even the crust on it's just tender. But I will get this sliced and packaged up, and I think you should all try it at least once.